I've made it a mission to hammer home how little interest I hold in the inane ramblings of a Mr. Mark Kozelek. I hold the Red House Painters and early Kil Moon albums in high regard, and considering the man's partiality to being a grumpy asshole, it makes sense that he shows off how much of a grumpy asshole he is on 2012's Among the Leaves, which I like a lot, only because said grumpy assholery is transformed into something musically and narratively engaging, which I don't think he's managed to do for the albums that followed, aside from Benji and Universal Themes, which are actually really good and managed to be emotionally stirring and outrageous. Outrageous is certainly a word I'd use to describe Kozelek's work now, but less in that you're shocked that he's saying something, and more in the idea that I just wish he'd not say it. These albums go on for 90 plus minutes, and the last Kil Moon album was 3 weeks long. I mean, it wasn't actually, but it certainly felt like it, like I was stuck for a road trip with someone who was able to speak so much and yet say barely anything at all. And I do mean speak, because Kozelek literally speaks in a croaky deadpan voice like Stephen Wright. This Is My Dinner seems like a self-aware stab at the idea of including too much detail, and indeed he does talk about his dinner on this album, but he also recommends quality hotels in the area, and even has a mild discussion about the state of his penis. Now, I think Mark Kozelek's lyricism, if you could call it that, has the flavour of an overcooked baked potato with no cheese, but This Is My Dinner goes full circle and is so outrageously mundane that it is actually hilarious, and as such, for completely stupid reasons, this is the most engaging thing he's done in a bloody long time. It's not even like he's doing anything new, it's more just that this time he's so deep into saying literally anything and everything that's on his mind that it becomes so funny. I don't even give a toss about what he's saying, I shouldn't care about what he's saying, but I end up listening anyways because the sheer mundanity of it is intoxicating. Beyond humour, this is genuinely a set of Kozelek's best instrumentals in a while. I love how he pauses the opener at times to repeat the title, "This is not possible." But then later on, in far more unessential and mundane moments, he says, "Yes, this is possible." I love how shivery the instrumental on Linda Blair sounds as it trembles and fizzes. I love how cold and chilly Candle sounds to the point where you might need a few to warm up your general vicinity. I love how Kozelek includes a cover of the Partridge Family theme, which is so jolly and uppity that it completely shatters the mood of the entire album. And I love how that he knows that's what it's going to do. I love that he knows how stupid this all is, and it gets to the point where I actually become capable of caring about what he's saying. It's the most boring diary entry possible, and I end up giving a shit. And before I close out, because ironically for an album that has a lot to say, I have nothing much else that I want to say about it, I do want to address that AC/DC cover of Rock and Roll Singer, because it's the best thing that's been released this year. It may not be my favourite thing that's been released this year, it may not even be the general consensus's favourite thing that's been released this year, but objectively speaking, a song where Kozelek holds onto a long note for nearly a minute to the point where his voice actually starts to break is something that will just not be beaten, and it gives me pure unadulterated joy just hearing it unfold. Oh, man. I honestly do not blame anyone if they sat through all 90 minutes of This Is My Dinner and got absolutely nothing out of it. Truthfully, I got nothing out of it except maybe a good old laugh, but Kozelek seems so in on the joke. It's so inessential that it becomes essential. So however the hell he managed to get a 7 out of 10 of me is beyond my understanding, but maybe deep inside I have a lot of emotional connection to find in his subpar falafel meal.